So when we started, I mentioned some of the things that Brian was able to impart on me, some wisdom. Probably didn't even know he was doing it. But going into this work with these fire crews, I had really not been around fire crews ever. This is spring of 97, and I made a few phone calls to connect with some of the crews within the Northern Rockies region. And since we're right here in Missoula, home team is the Lolo Hotshots. And so I make one phone call to their base and talk with the crew superintendent, who at the time his name was Steve Karkinen. And instantly we just hit it off. I don't know what it was. We just hit it off and had a great conversation about what I perceived were some of the goals that I wanted to bring forward for the study. But more than that, I would pause and ask Steve, what do you think? And then I would listen. What do you think? What are the problems your team is up against? What are the things that you see as health concerns for today's wildland firefighter? And I think listening is not an inherent skill within the scientist or within the scientific community. Most people talk before listening, especially in science. Most people explain or cram their theories down your throat before listening to what you have to say. And in this population, it was very important for me to listen first, act second. Listen first, and then unfold some of the research methodologies that we had hoped to take out into this setting. And so it was really awesome to get that back and forth with Steve, because it made me a lot more comfortable moving forward talking to these crews, because we've done stuff with special ops teams, we've done stuff with military operatives, done a lot of stuff with firefighters. I mean, or ultra endurance athletes. Any of those groups is its own little club. And as an outsider, especially a researcher, coming into that tight-knit club, it's hard to break into that. And in order to do that, you can't just bull in a china shop come running in and saying, okay, I've got this tracer, I've got these tubes, I'm going to collect some urine samples, and we're going to do this, that, and the other. You have to listen, ask them what they feel is the major issue, and then explain to them why you want to start where you wanted to start, what you want to start with. And I thought it was very important for us to start our foundation at determining what the overall energy demands of the job were, rather than swooping in and saying, let's have you train this way, let's measure this because you're not doing this right. Let's just describe the job. That's what I wanted to do. And that was very well received by the teams. The methodology is incredibly elegant in terms of the technique. And it's also very hands-off. So we come in, we give a tracer, an oral dose of this tracer, and then basically we just collect things that they need to get rid of anyways. That's just multiple urine samples. Very easy to collect. And so from the get-go, I was able to establish a really nice relationship with that team, especially the crew superintendents, Steve Karkinen and Holly Maloney. I mean, they could have easily shut the door on the whole damn thing. Instead, it was like swung wide open. What can we do to help? And as they have always said, what can we do to help you, the researcher? As a researcher, I always feel it's important for me to ask them, what can I do to help? How can I help your world? What can I bring from my science world into your world to help your job, or to maybe pave the way for some positive policy changes down the line? So from the very beginning, it was all about a relationship, and it's still all about that relationship.